Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you never once said it out loud? This is the story of two people who fell in love without ever touching, who shared everything except the one thing they wanted most. Their names were Chow Mo-wan and Su Li-zan, and this is how their hearts quietly broke in 1962 Hong Kong. It all started with a simple coincidence. Two married couples rented neighboring apartments on the same day in a crowded building. Chow Mo-wan was a journalist, quiet, polite, always in sharp suits and a thin tie. His wife worked late shifts and was rarely home. Next door lived Su Li-zan. Everyone called her Mrs. Chan, elegant and graceful, always in beautiful cheongsam dresses that hugged her like a second skin. Her husband was a businessman who traveled constantly to Japan. At first, they were just neighbors. They nodded hello in the hallway or shared small talk while waiting for the elevator. They borrowed soy sauce, returned newspapers, smiled politely when their landlords played mahjong too loudly downstairs. Nothing more. Then one evening, Mrs. Chan noticed something strange. Her husband had just brought her a new handbag from Japan, sleek, expensive, with a rare floral pattern. A few days later, she saw the exact same handbag hanging in Mr. Chow's apartment. Mr. Chow, meanwhile, had bought a tie his wife said she loved, and later saw the identical tie around Mr. Chan's neck. One rainy night, while their spouses were both working late, Chow and Legzhen found themselves alone in the hallway, staring at each other in silence. Finally, Mr. Chow spoke. "Your handbag? It's the same as my wife's." Mrs. Chan's eyes widened. "And your tie?" "My husband has one just like it." They didn't need to say anything else. They understood. Their husband and wife were having an affair. But instead of anger or revenge, something softer happened. They started talking. Not about hate, about loneliness. They met in quiet noodle stalls after work, sitting across from each other, pretending to be the cheating spouses. They rehearsed how the affair might have started, how their partners might have flirted, how a hand might have brushed another hand by accident. Mr. Chow would play Mr. Chan, speaking in a deeper voice. "Darling, you look tired. Let me carry your bag." And Mrs. Chan would laugh softly, covering her mouth, replying as Mrs. Chow. "You're too kind. People will talk." They told themselves it was just to understand, to practice, to prepare for a confrontation that would never come. But every time they met, the air grew heavier. The silences lasted longer. Their eyes lingered. One night, after too many late rehearsals, the rain poured so hard they couldn't go home. They ended up in Mr. Chow's empty apartment, sitting on the floor, backs against the wall. The light was dim. She hugged her knees. He lit a cigarette. "Do you think they're happy?" she asked. He exhaled slowly. "I don't know. Maybe. Maybe that's why it hurts so much." She turned to him, her face inches away. For a moment, it looked like he might lean in. She might let him. But she turned away first. "We can't," she whispered. "We're not like them." From that night on, they tried to stop meeting. But they couldn't. Days turned into weeks. They passed each other in corridors without speaking. They left notes under doors that said nothing important. They stood outside each other's apartments, listening for footsteps, then walked away. He started writing a martial arts serial for the newspaper. She came to help him with ideas. They sat together for hours in his room, heads bent over paper, shoulders almost touching. Sometimes their hands brushed while reaching for the same pen. Neither pulled away. One afternoon, the landlady almost caught them. Mrs. Chan had to hide in Mr. Chow's room for an entire night while people played mahjong next door. He slept on the floor. She lay awake on his bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to him breathe. When morning came, she left without a word. But she left her scarf behind. He kept it. Their love grew in glances, in pauses, in everything they didn't say. They never kissed. They never held hands in public. They never crossed the line their spouses had crossed so easily. Their connection was built on restraint, on a shared secret and a shared sorrow. Then Mr. Chow got a job offer in Singapore. He asked her to come with him. Just once, quietly, in the hallway, under the flickering light. "Come with me," he said. She looked at him for a long time. Tears filled her eyes. She shook her head. "I can't." He left alone. Years passed. 1966. Singapore. Mr. Chow returned to Hong Kong for a visit. He went back to their old building. The landlords had moved. New families lived there now. He stood in the hallway where they used to pass each other. He touched the wall where she once leaned, crying after a fight that never happened. He never saw her again. But one day, Mrs. Chan came back too. She stood outside his old apartment. The new tenants let her in. She walked through the empty rooms. She stood where they once stood together. Then she left. Later, she moved into an apartment on the same floor. Alone now. Her husband never came back. She raised a son. No one knew whose it was. And Mr. Chow? He traveled the world, writing stories no one read. He carried a secret with him everywhere he went. In Cambodia, at the ancient temples of Angkor Wat, he found a hole in a stone wall. An old monk's tradition says you can whisper your deepest secret into the stone, then cover it with mud, so it stays there forever. He pressed his lips to the wall. He whispered her name. He whispered everything he never said. Then he sealed it. The wind blew through the ruins. The secret stayed. And somewhere, in a quiet apartment in Hong Kong, a woman in a faded cheongsam closed her eyes and felt, for just a moment, that someone, somewhere, was still thinking of her. They never touched. They never betrayed. But they loved each other more than most people ever do. This was their story. A love that lived in glances, in almosts, in forever unspoken words, in the mood for love, but never quite in the time for it. And that's how some of the greatest loves end, not with a kiss, but with a whisper into stone. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.